Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I try and find the silver linings in even the worst of films. Recently, Paramount has been absolutely slaying the game in terms of making moves in the Hollywood industry. They were bought out by Skydance, the president was replaced with this new young guy, and he means business. He wants the world to know that he is hitting the ground running. He's trying to do everything he can to bring Paramount out of the rubble, because right now they're not doing too hot. It's one of the reasons why they had to get bought out by another company, because they were in financial crisis. He is, quickly trying to get the ball rolling on another Top Gun. He's bringing back World War Z, a $500 million zombie flick starring Brad Pitt that should have had 10 sequels by now, but for whatever reason hasn't. He's trying to get Star Trek in order. He's acquiring all these different properties, and one of those is a Call of Duty movie. Now, for a long time, I had this saying that I used to live by, and it's that there's 3 rules of life. Everyone's going to die one day, everyone pays taxes, and video game movie adaptions suck so much ass cheeks, it's insane. And that curse was finally broken as of recently with things like The Last of Us. With me personally, I think Uncharted beat it. I know I'm in the minority there. It was a big step away from any of the stories introduced to us in the games, but I thought Tom Holland did a really great job as a young Nathan Drake. I liked Mark Wahlberg as Sully, and I just liked going on an adventure with them. Was it an adventure that we've seen in the games? No, but it was still fun to watch them go on similar types of adventures with the swashbuckling pirate ships, Nathan Drake punching and beating up bad guys and swinging through vines, and Sully quipping one-liners. It was a lot of fun for me. Then we had the Super Mario Brothers movie, which critically didn't do that well, but it made $1.3 billion and fans loved it, and that also continued the trend of breaking the curse, where maybe video game movies aren't supposed to be these thought-provoking Schindler's List version of movies where critics are absolutely in love with it. They're supposed to just be mindless, stupid fun. Yes, they're supposed to also have good stories, and there's an argument to be made that the Mario Brothers movie does have a good story about brotherly love and Mario wanting to be more than just this plumber that people respected, and there was a lot of deep themes behind it that clearly critics didn't gravitate towards, but I thought it was amazing. And then we got Minecraft, which again followed that path of, this guy in Jason Momoa who was kind of a loser. He was a man-child, and he had to kind of grow up and become the hero that he was destined to be to help these kids that he fell into this Minecraft world with. And was it a critical darling? No, they picked it apart, but fans loved it because it took the game and it accurately brought it to life, and it brought that fun that comes with the game into this movie, and every kid on the planet that went to see it absolutely loved it. I didn't love it. I thought it was a fine movie. It was fun. Jason Momoa gave a fun performance. I enjoyed watching him essentially just play himself with a bad wig, but it seems like they really found their footing when it comes to what make these video game movies work. Now, there's been so much speculation about a Fortnite movie getting made, and I just don't see how it's done. Although, if you asked me 15 years ago if I think making a movie about Legos was a good idea, I would have said there's literally no story. It's toys that kids make up their own stories. So how could you make one movie that's gonna make everyone fall in love with it if the whole point of them is kids making up their own stories with these things? And they did it, and that showed me you could take a roll of toilet paper and make a good movie out of it if you have someone that has a good idea, and clearly the people behind the Lego movie did. And I'm sure that same thing applies with Fortnite, but I still have that fear in the back of my head of the whole point of the game is there's 100 people in a giant ship. At the start of the match, or the level, whatever you want to consider it, everyone jumps out of the ship and lands on a random part of this massively big island. Once you land, you have no weapons, you have to run around and try and find one, and the second you do, you kind of just run headfirst into the center of the map where everyone battles until there's one person standing, and that last person standing is the winner. And it's literally just a death match until there's one left. There is no story. It's just survive until the end, kill the last person, done. With Call of Duty, it's a very similar thing. I mean, the main part of Call of Duty is the multiplayer aspect, where a team of 6 players load themselves up with tactical army gear, whether that be M16s and night vision goggles, tactical vests, flashbangs, hand grenades. You load yourself up like an actual Marine or soldier or whatever, and you go into battle against 6 other players, where each team has 75 lives, and the team that loses their lives first loses. It's just kill each other until the timer runs out, essentially. Now, there are campaigns in these films that they could follow, so that gives me some hope, because there are some iconic Call of Duty campaigns with story missions that would absolutely kick ass in live action. But the question is, where do they start? Because they have movies going all the way back to World War I, to World War II, the Cold War, modern day, futuristic. What scares me is not knowing which story they could potentially try and recreate for the big screen. And I hope they don't do the Uncharted route and go and just try and tell their own story, because if they do that, then they're not making a Call of Duty movie. They're just making another war movie that's not based off of a true story. If they want this to feel like Call of Duty, just recapture one of the most iconic campaigns in Call of Duty history. If they do that, I think you can make it exciting enough to get people that never played the game before to just show up to watch an epic action movie about soldiers that are totally badass, kicking ass and taking names against the backdrop of massive explosions and awesome gunfights and aerial combat and stuff like that. And you'll also make the diehard fans of the games happy. Now, one of the things that also kind of bums me out is Steven Spielberg apparently went to Activision and almost begged them to make this movie, but they got afraid because he wanted full control. He didn't want to relinquish control. He didn't want to team up with them and kind of cooperatively do this where they work together as a team to bring the story to life. He wanted full say in what goes on and what the story is and how it's directed and everything like that. And Activision got nervous. They were like, we don't want to just give you the full rights to it and you go off and do whatever you want with it. We need to protect our franchise. I don't think Steven Spielberg would have made a bad movie. He's Steven Spielberg. He's the greatest director of all time. He's literally the greatest director of all time. So I think he would have done a great job. I understand why they turned him down because, again, it's their baby and they want to be involved. Totally fine. But on one hand, I'm bummed that I don't get to see a Steven Spielberg Call of Duty movie. I'm ready to see him do something else like Saving Private Ryan, like one of the greatest war movies ever made. And this one would have been geared more towards an action-heavy 80s action hero type vibe. I would have been really excited to see that from Steven Spielberg. Bring him back to like his Indiana Jones route of making movies and move away from like the Bridge of Spy and the Lincoln stuff. But we're not getting that. And what makes me worried is that some nobody's going to come and absolutely ruin it. Like, you could have had Steven Spielberg and now you're going to get some nobody that did like 3 independent films. That's my biggest fear. Like, you're going to try and make a Call of Duty movie, but you're going to half-ass it because you're going to get a talentless hack to come and try and adapt this. And then we're just going to get another shitty video game adaptation. There's no second tries on a first impression. And if you fail at the first one, no one's going to want to see a second one. So I really hope they weed out who does this. They make sure that whoever they hire is equipped to bring this franchise to life and understands what makes the games work, understands what's going to unite both the diehard fans and the average everyday moviegoer. It seems like the guy that is the president of Paramount knows what he's talking about. Apparently, he's a big fan of the games. He played them all. He talked about how he put hundreds upon hundreds of hours into the games himself. So I have some confidence that he's going to pick somebody that kind of sees eye to eye with at least him. Like, he is a fan. So I can't imagine he's going to pick someone that sucks. But you know, money talks. And if they can find someone for cheap to do it, who knows? I'm skeptical about it. Only time will tell. I am really excited to see this, though. There is potential for it to be absolutely fantastic. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for the Call of Duty movie, or do you think it's going to be a colossal train wreck? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time.